Greetings and salutations, this is Akirishin. In this video, I will be featuring the P-51K Mustang. This aircraft is equipped with 6 12.7mm machine guns. It has low damage per second of only 52. It has a high rate of fire of 800 rounds per minute, and it has a medium effective firing range of 540 meters. I have equipped this aircraft with the Lightweight Airframe 3 upgrade, which gives 3% to maneuverability in all axes, as well as the Control Surface Adjustment 3 upgrade, which increases maneuverability in turns by 3%. In addition, I have equipped the Engine Tuning 3 upgrade, which increases engine power by 5%. I have equipped the Universal Ammunition, which has a high chance of fire and a medium chance of critical damage. This aircraft has a vulnerable engine, therefore I have equipped automatic engine restarter. I have also equipped automatic fire extinguisher, as well as heavy duty control surfaces, which increases maneuverability significantly in all axes for a period of 10 seconds. That is, of course, to assist when we get in that tight turning dogfight. This aircraft does have good maneuverability in horizontal turns. However, it can easily be outmatched by more nimble aircraft such as the Spitfire or many of the Japanese fighters. So in flying this aircraft in PvP, you tend to want to start at the peripheral of a battle and work your way in, rather than just dive into the middle of a melee, because if you get a truly turn and burn gifted aircraft, you will lose that dogfight every time. In terms of pilot skills, I have gone with Aerobatics Expert, which increases maneuverability in all axes by 2%, and Aerodynamics Expert, which accentuates by 40% the effects of our lightweight airframe and our controlled surface adjustment upgrades that we equipped. It also assists in our engine tuning upgrade. So basically, all three of our upgrades are accentuated by the Aerodynamics Expert skill. Did also go with Engine Guru, which increases engine thrust by 3%, significantly improving aircraft acceleration. So in other words, I have made a concerted effort with this aircraft to accentuate one of its strengths, which is that it has high airspeed and accelerates quickly when boosting. It's got a good engine, it's a fast aircraft, and so I wanted to accentuate that strength. In terms of the P-51K's statistics, specifications, it has an average time to turn 360 degrees of 10 seconds. Optimum altitude is 2,200 meters, so it is a high climber, not the highest. Other aircraft are in the 2,500 to 2,800 range, but 2,200 is nothing to sneeze at. Optimum airspeed is 483 kilometers per hour. In terms of paint schemes, you are currently looking at summer. And of course, this is the P-51K Mustang that was in service with the Chinese in the Chinese theater during World War II. This is winter, desert, and my favorite, marine. It's kind of like a tiger stripe type camo scheme. So to me, this aircraft just looks so sleek, so aerodynamic. But interestingly enough, it looks much better than the P-51H Mustang. Let me show you. So if you look at the P-51H Mustang, it's got a much different design. It looks more like a, I don't know what the best way to describe it is, more like a pregnant frog right in that area. I think because the line kind of comes down like this. And in contrast, if you look at the P-51K, you can see it's more tailored up in this area versus coming down like this, like the P-51H. It just seems like a more attractive aircraft than more like what I would think a P-51 would look like than the P-51H. And of course, I love the bubble cockpit that sits on top of the airframe versus the ones where the airframe, the canopy kind of disappears into the airframe. Like, for example, this design where the canopy just goes into the airframe. To me, that's not as attractive as the bubble canopy. So what we are going to do now is to head over to World of Warplanes website and use their compare aircraft tool to compare our P-51K Mustang to other Tier VII fighters. So let's do that now. Okay, so before we get started on our aircraft comparison efforts here, I first wanted to show you we are here on World of Warplanes website looking at their premium shop, and you will see here how you can acquire the P-51K Mustang, and that is to purchase it from the premium shop for $28.99. You will get a 100% crew, and you will get a hangar slot for the aircraft. So If you were wondering how do I get this aircraft, this is the way, and hopefully this review will help you decide whether or not you want to do that and make that investment. And here we are on World of Warplanes website looking at the Compare Aircraft feature. As always, I will let you know that it is important to go into each one of these aircraft and make sure that they have been fully customized to their greatest potential, so that you give each plane its put it in its best light. Also, you want the aircraft that you want to feature, choose it last so that it will go in the first slot. First up, we have the Supermarine Spitfire 9. And again, these are all Tier 7 fighters. We also have the Gloucester Meteor jet. And looking at the armament, the Spitfire and the Gloucester Meteor both excel in comparison to the P-51 Mustang. The Gloucester even more so than the Spitfire. And that's because they have cannons versus the Mustang's machine guns. None of these planes have bombs or rockets. They are all equal to one another in terms of survivability. All have the same hit points. In terms of airspeed, the Spitfire is slightly inferior, and the Gloucester Meteor is slightly superior than the P-51 Mustang. I can tell you that flying Spitfires, they do tend to seem a little bit slow. Top speed at best altitude, so when these aircraft are each in their altitude element, which we'll see shortly what that altitude is, you see that the P-51 Mustang excels in comparison to the Spitfire and the Meteor, especially over the Spitfire. Average time to turn 360 degrees. The Mustang is inferior to the Spitfire significantly by over 2 seconds, which it doesn't seem like much, but that makes a big difference when you're in a turning fight. The Spitfire is probably going to be able to get its guns on the Mustang, but the reverse is not true, unless the Spitfire pilot makes a mistake, of course. The Meteor is significantly more than in terms of how long it takes than the Mustang. So in a dogfight, a turning dogfight, the Mustang is going to beat out the Meteor. Optimum airspeed, the Meteor and the P-51K are the same. The Spitfire trails in comparison to the P-51K. In terms of stall speed, the P-51K is going to stall later than the Meteor, but earlier than the Spitfire would. So the Spitfire would have the stall advantage over the P-51K, whereas the P-51K would have the stall advantage over the Meteor. Optimum altitude, the P-51K outclasses both the Spitfire and the Meteor significantly. The Spitfire does beat out the P-51K in terms of rate of climb, whereas the Meteor is exactly the same as the P-51K. So in conclusion, in a turning dogfight, the Mustang is going to probably lose to the Spitfire, whereas it will probably win to the Meteor. Next up, we have the Mitsubishi A7M and the Nakajima Kai 84. Both Japanese aircraft, of course, Japanese fighters. In terms of gun armament, the Mustang beats the A7M, whereas it is significantly inferior to the Kai 84. None of those aircraft have rockets or bombs. In terms of survivability, they are basically the same, a slight advantage for the Mustang over the Kai 84, but not significant at all. And you see those differences, those similarities there in the hit points. Top speed at best altitude, the P-51K Mustang is going to beat out both the A7M and the Kai 84. So that seems to be a consistent trend in this comparison so far. Average time to turn 360 degrees. Both of these Japanese fighters will significantly outclass the P-51K in terms of a turning dogfight. So again, if you see one of these Japanese aircraft, you know that if you get in close and you get into a turning dogfight, you're going to lose. So it's better to make sure that you maintain some distance. Don't let those Japanese aircraft get in your immediate vicinity. So try to take them on from the peripheral of the fight, and then move in as you start to eliminate enemy aircraft, and it becomes a friendlier environment. In terms of stall speed, the P-51K is going to stall faster than both of our Japanese aircraft that we're comparing here. Consistently, the P-51K Mustang beats out the Kai and the A7M in terms of the optimum altitude. However, the Kai 84 beats the P-51K in terms of rate of climb, whereas the A7M is inferior in comparison to the P-51K in terms of rate of climb. Okay, so next up we have the Messerschmitt Bf-109G Gustav and the Yakovlev Yak-3. In terms of gun armament, the Bf-109G is indicated to be inferior to the Mustang, whereas the Yak-3 is listed as being superior than the Mustang, but not by much on either one of those aircraft. We're talking about one point. In terms of survivability, basically the same. The Yak-3, a very slight disadvantage, and you see that in the hit points there. Top speed at best altitude, Bf-109G beats out the Mustang, whereas the Mustang beats out the Yak-3 pretty significantly. Average time to turn 360 degrees, both the Bf-109G and the Yak-3 beat out the P-51K Mustang. The Bf-109G not by very much, 0.5, but the Yak-3 by over 2 seconds. So that's very important. But the Yak line of progression, those aircraft are very nimble, extremely nimble. with the apex being the Yak 30 jet aircraft at level 10. In terms of stall speed, both the BF-109G and the Yak 3 have better stall speeds than does the P-51K. And the P-51K is the same as the BF-109G. However, the Yak 3 is significantly bested by the P-51K in terms of altitude performance. And rate of climb, both the BF-109G and the Yak 3 well, in terms of the BF-109G, it significantly outclasses the P-51K Mustang, whereas the Yak 3 has only a 0.3, a very slight advantage over the P-51K. So we now have the LA-9RD and the Yav-Aken LA-7. The LA-9RD is a premium aircraft. The LA-7 is not. In terms of gun armament, the LA-9RD is slightly inferior to the Mustang, whereas the LA-7 is slightly superior than the Mustang. None of these aircraft have bombs or rockets. The LA-9RD and the LA-7 are both +1 superior in the survivability department than the Mustang. You see that also reflected in the hit points. In terms of best top speed at best altitude, the Mustang is beaten in that regard by the LA-9RD, but is superior to the LA-7. Average time to turn 360 degrees. Both of these Russian aircraft significantly outpace the Mustang in terms of 360-degree tight turning. So again, another aircraft where you don't want to go toe-to-toe with them in a turning dogfight. It's just, unless the other pilot makes a mistake, it's just, it's not going to go your way. We can't have that, right? Okay, stall speed. Both of the Russian aircraft we're comparing here have superior stall speeds than does the P-51K. And likewise, both the Russian aircraft have a better rate of climb than the P-51K Mustang. So why is that important? Well, if you're in a Mustang and you're trying to escape these two Russian aircraft, just know that they can outclimb you. Okay, so the last two aircraft we have here are the Kostakov 302 and the Mikoyan Garavich I-220. Both of those Russian aircraft outclass the P-51K Mustang in terms of firepower. None of these aircraft have bombs. Both the 302 and the I-220 are ever so slightly inferior to the P-51K Mustang, just 1 point, so that's not very significant. You see that reflected in the hit points there. Top speed at best altitude, both the 302 and the I-220 outclass the P-51K Mustang in that regard. Average time to turn 360 degrees. The P-51K Mustang is going to beat out the 302, but not the I-220, all things being equal. Optimum airspeed. The P-51K Mustang outclasses the 302 in terms of optimum airspeed, but not the I-220. And in terms of altitude performance, the P-51K Mustang and the 302 are exactly the same, whereas the I-220 is outclassed by the P-51K Mustang. And finally, in terms of rate of climb, the P-51K Mustang is significantly better than the 302 and somewhat inferior to the I-220. So hopefully that helps you to put into perspective the P-51K Mustang in comparison to other Tier 7 fighters, and will help you to hopefully help you in deciding what line of aircraft you want to develop for your fighter. Okay. So now that we have reviewed this aircraft's features and compared it to other Tier 7 fighters, let's head into a battle and see how it does. Alright, so we have drawn the Northern Bridgehead Atonement map, and we will be, once he is done, we'll be headed over here to the command center to secure it so we can get bombers outbound towards their assets, and then we will head over to the air base and get in the mix, into the melee.
Show me what you can do, pilots. Let's roll.
So that's some attractive camo there with a bright red nose. Looks pretty sharp.
Stay alert, pilots. Large enemy force spotted over the airfield.
One down, 2 to go. So you see it handles pretty well. It's no Spitfire or Yak, but neither is it some of the multi-role aircraft that are so difficult to turn in.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers.
So I've noticed it usually takes 3 air defense aircraft to secure the sector. We've got one human pilot and a Japanese fighter. So that is something to be cognizant of. A human pilot and a Japanese fighter is nothing to play around with. Okay. And there is our human pilot right there. So let's get him out of the picture where he can do some real harm. What are we dealing with there? LA-7. Got a low health fighter there. They got him. Excellent. Let's see, what do we have coming in here? Several fighters up there dealing with the bombers. See, that's the great thing about bombers is they have to deal with them. If they don't, those bombers will most assuredly wreak havoc. What do we have here? On our tail. I'm a little bit mindful of that human pilot that may come back and we want to get that Avenger accolade. Watchful of that for sure. Goodbye. Alright, so there is our human pilot. And again, I always target the human pilots first if I can. I have the option because they're going to be the most talented. They're going to do the most harm to your team. Okay. See, if I wanted to, I could choose another aircraft down here. I'm not going to, but I could, if I so chose. We have here, that's at LA-7. So, we weren't past the squall line, so our human pilot could definitely be coming back on us, so we want to be cognizant of that. And there's our human pilot. So we'll go over here and handle this.
Be advised, a line of thunderstorms is approaching. We'll soon be unable to provide support. Do you copy?
Boy, those machine guns really chew on aircraft like a chainsaw, don't they? Alright, there's that LA-7 again, which likes to kind of fly straight at us sometimes. Alright, and we have a ground attack aircraft there that we need to handle. So we're using extend flaps and air brakes to help us stay behind that aircraft, otherwise we would have flown right past it. It's a pretty fast plane, and if we survive, we have a good chance of getting our top grade. So that would be nice if we could do that. Let's go over here. A lot of enemy aircraft over there, and I don't know that we have the support to take that on. Okay, and that guy's still behind us. Well, LA-7 finally got its revenge. And before we could get our top grade, that's frustrating. I knew it was dangerous going over to that area with, you know, all enemy aircraft over there and no friendlies, but I felt compelled to try, given that they were, going to take our sector. And it looks like we need every sector that we have. A Focke-Wulf 190A8 here.
Step it up. We're losing the battle.
Okay, so we've destroyed 13 aerial targets, 5 while defending, 240 capture points. Almost our top grade, just didn't get our star. Can thank the LA-7 for that.
We are losing the initiative. Push harder.
These IL aircraft are tough, very effective ground attack aircraft. I would say the Russians may have the best ground attack aircraft in the game at this time.
You could. Go back to base.
Alright, so over 12,700 combat points earned. Over 1,300 mastery points. Of course, we were top in our combat group, and our grade result there. Let's head back to the after action report and see how we did. Sometimes when you go to the after action report, you'll see medals there or accolades that you don't see on the summary screen right after combat. Alright, so over 3,000 in damage to aerial targets. We were destroyed twice, but we shot down 13 enemy aircraft, 5 of which were done while defending. And let's see here. Our number one player on the enemy team was a bot that shot down 12 enemy aircraft and did over 5,700 damage to aerial targets. That was a heavy fighter. I have not unlocked this aircraft yet. I have researched it, but I've not purchased it yet. So I'm interested in doing so, though. It's a interesting looking design. I like the thinness of the design. Alright, so that is the P-51K in action there. Beautiful aircraft. I like the red nose on this particular design. Although it doesn't really seem to go with anything, does it? It looks like they just decided, let's put a red nose on the plane. Okay, so that was fun. Let's get into another battle and see how we do again. We have loaded into the Archipelago Stumbling Block map, and we will be headed over here to this command center and then to this airstrip. Some people like to go over to this airstrip and get this command center and that airstrip, but I like to head around counterclockwise on this particular map. And I usually expect that I will be meeting enemy resistance somewhere between the forward airstrip and the command center.
The area of combat operations. Be ready. Show me what you can do, pilot.
Alright, and here we go. Isn't this just an awesome looking plane? I mean, if you set out to design a fighter, wouldn't it look like this? I mean, it's just a fantastic design. It really is. Okay, so I expect that as we head over here towards this airfield, we are going to get some resistance. So this aircraft is a high climber, so we're going to get a little height here so that we have the advantage, hopefully.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers detected. Destroy them.
That's an attractive looking paint scheme, isn't it? Okay, so we still haven't seen any contacts yet. They may be down very low, or not sure why we haven't seen any yet. There we go. These are just air defense aircraft. I wonder if it was a ground attack aircraft that just was so low we're not picking it up. This aircraft is pretty fast, and I've noticed that it doesn't always slow down well, so sometimes you have to do some rolls so you don't overshoot your target. Okay, so far moving right along. However, we do have some inroads being made into our command base over here. And there you go. There is the ground attack aircraft that we thought might be over there. Alright, so let's get a little height again. Ooh, hello. And they may not have seen us yet. Wow, okay. Holy mackerel. They're all here, folks. Every one of them. We have just stumbled into a hornet's nest. It's going to be interesting. Alright, we've got an enemy on our tail, so ideally we want them flying past us so we can get behind them. And I don't think we're going to be able to stay on anybody's tail here, just because it's just too much. Too many. It's amazing we survived as long as we did. Their whole team was there. Let's head over here. And we'll head over to their command center. So my guess is they're going to move over in force to take ours. And I don't think we're going to be in a position to resist such a large conglomeration of enemy planes. So let's go where they aren't. Looks like they're escorting bombers. We're gonna ignore the air defense aircraft for now. Focus on the enemy fighters. We've got some wing damage here, so our maneuverability is suffering, and I think they're going to get us. So we thought they were going to head over here to the command center, but in fact they did not. And my guess is they're going to head perhaps over here to our airfield next. So they may be following our bombers there.
Do you copy? Over.
They get all the bombers. Okay, so we'll come up here and we'll help them finish off these bombers. go.
The threat to the complex eliminated. Way to go!
And here comes the planes we thought might be on their way.
There's a heavy storm here. Unable to proceed. Return into base. Do you copy?
Alright. I am hoping that maybe this command center over here has cleared out of that huge pack of wolves that came in. So if that's the case, we'll just be dealing with air defense aircraft. It shouldn't be too challenging for us.
The command centers are under our control. Communication with the headquarters established.
Okay, so now we have both command centers, or they're all, I see them over there possibly working on ours. So let's head over to their airfield, see what we can do there, although I suspect that we'll, and we did, prevail before that happens. Okay, so number 1 rank in our combat group, Flying Warrior Badge, which is awarded for achieving maximum efficiency in completing the aircraft type specific air battle for sectors, whatever that means. And our grade. Looks like we probably shot down 12 aircraft. We'll head back now to the after action report and see how we did. I think if I were a World War II pilot on the American side of things, I would want to be flying the P-51. Okay, so 12 aircraft, as I had mentioned. We did over 2,400 in damage to aerial targets. And we also got Flying Start and Subjugator. Over 7,800 combat points. The enemy number 1 was a Meteor, and they shot down 14 enemy aircraft. It's a jet fighter. So, we secured the victory. Success. Well, I hope that you have enjoyed this video, and I am confident that if you get an opportunity to fly this premium aircraft, that you will really be successful in it.